It's so lovely to see you and to meet you finally a little bit on Zoom, I guess. But I've been such a admirer of your work and, all the malas, beautiful malas that you make, and just you as a human being. So thank you so much for honoring us today with your presence on our podcast here. So I'm going to introduce you a little bit, and then you can introduce yourself also to our audience. So basically, I know Laura because of the malas that she makes, and I noticed one of my friends had bought a mala from her, and I was like, oh my God, it's so beautiful. And so I got one too, and that's how I started to know about Laura. And I'm such an admirer of her work and how she makes her malas and the process, that I know that she puts so much love into it. And I invited her to come and tell us a little bit about herself and her mala making, and also how that has impacted her life and her spirituality. So Laura, introduce yourself to our listeners.
Thank you so much, Deborah. My name is Laura Gagnon. I live in Kansas City, Kansas. I'm a wife, a mother. I have 2 boys. The oldest is 3, the youngest is 2. I am practicing yoga. I've been practicing yoga since 2009. And I'm a yoga teacher since 2013, hot yoga, Bikram yoga teacher. And also just since 2020 added mala making to my resume.
Your repertoire.
My repertoire.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit how that happened. Like, how did that journey unfold for you?
Well, it all started after I had my second baby, and I was nursing him, and I saw across Facebook said mala kits, and instantly I thought, I'm gonna make a mala. And at that point I had never made a mala. Wow. I didn't know what I was doing, but I was so excited. It was something God had put in my heart, and I was so excited. So I called and I said, I want to get some mala kits. And they said, well, what kind of malas do you want? What do you want? I had no idea what you could make a mala with. So they asked me, what type of energy do you want in your life? So I thought I would like love and peace and unity. And they said, okay, great, we'll send you. And I was so excited. I told my husband, and he said, well, that's great, but you need to practice first. So I said, fair enough. And he recommended I practice on a rudraksha seed mala. So that was my first mala that I made. I just was so excited, and I am self-taught. I watched YouTube videos how to make malas over and over and over and over, and just practice, trial and error, and just got better over time. And so
that's like incredible.
Oh, thank you. So it's a joy. I love making malas. It's I call it yoga mala because every day I love to practice yoga. That's part of my daily life and practice. And I love to make malas every day. It just brings me so much joy.
Yeah. So, I would like to ask you about because to me, when I watch you, and sometimes you put clips on and different stones, and whenever I see it, I see the connection that you have to the stone, and therefore the connection that I can have through that. So I think, I'm not sure if you're aware of that yet, that because of your love for what you're doing and the way that it's kind of like when you're projecting outside to the world, then what we're seeing also has that kind of, there's a connection. Like, I know a lot of people that make malas, and most people make good malas. But there's something really different and special about the way that you present what you do with the malas to the outside world, and then how we connect, because that's my experience of watching you and you making your malas. And I think that that's very, you can't learn that, you can't buy it. It's just something that's there. So to me, that looks like there's a deep connection, that you have that deep connection, that you then connect with the stones, and then you also connect to what it is that you want to present to the world. Right. Exactly. And so there's like so it's like because a lot of people, and unfortunately this is how it goes in the world, like people get into a job, let's say malas or even yoga, they start to teach yoga or they're making malas, and it becomes more about the business. And I understand that you need to eat, and you need a place to live, so it needs to pay these bills. But oftentimes it becomes more of that than the true connection, because when the true connection is there, the money will come anyway. And so anyway, exactly. I wanted to point out to you that in your mala making, that's what I noticed. And that's what attracted me to, to you and your malas. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. It is a connection. That's why I love making malas too, because when someone says, I want a mala or I want to make a mala, then it is a great opportunity to connect with that human, that soul, and then also help them, as well as myself, learn about what type of intention or that they want to manifest or call into your life. Also, for me as a mala maker, when I'm making malas, as a mala maker, you unknot yourself. So you're unknotting these negative thoughts and negative emotions that come. Also similar, maybe practicing yoga, right? You're practicing and you have to open up to receive and go with the flow, trust the process. So that's also the same with the mala making, is you learn all of that and express that through the mala.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool, because of course, you being also a Bikram yoga teacher, I had a talk, actually, we had a podcast on that, of how when you're teaching Bikram yoga, it's like a meditation, because you're not in your thinking mind. You have to use the dialogue, and you're actually having a conversation with the body, not with your intellect. Like you're talking to the body of the person, not their intellect, not your intellect. And something beautiful unfolds. So I actually am getting a little glimpse into your world of mala making because of being a teacher. When I go into the room, I just allow whatever needs to happen. And there's a kind of a process because there's the dialogue, but for the most part, it's not me. Well, most of it is not me. It's just like, I just have to make sure I say the dialogue. And sometimes if you forget the dialogue, it's okay too, because that happens as well. And you just keep trusting the process. So I have a glimpse in that. Okay, so that's the same technique that you use for when you're practicing or when you're teaching yoga. Yeah. And so like you said, it's like a meditation. And that's why it's so pure, because, and this is the other thing I talk about. I don't want to digress to yoga, but the other thing I always say about yoga is you're not doing anything as a teacher. You're there watching the unfolding. And so I would imagine for you, when you're doing your mala, the insights are coming, but you're all the time just watching the unfolding, because you've got the information from the person, the intention, and you start to feel into their energy. And this is where, in my mind, spirituality comes in, because you can't have a connection to yourself and others if you don't have that connection to spirit within yourself. Right. Exactly. And so the more you can trust that, isn't it so? Like the more we can trust that, the more you give up, the more the process will just unfold. And I think that's when people are getting the malas. Like me, I love the malas that you've made for me, and I wear them with such intention. It's really beautiful, because I feel like they keep their, like I said, I've bought malas from many people, but there's something special about your malas.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, I feel that when I am making malas, that it's not just me making the mala, it's spirit coming through me, or the intuition coming to me, and it's all flowing, working with that person, the energy, it just all comes. It's not just me. And I like to work with people to just see what they like, because at the end of the day, I feel like people do know what they like, and they do know what they want, and we all have the power to change and move on and attract those things into our life. So that's what's all coming when I make a mala. It's not just me, it's everything working together, and really it's flowing to get you the mala that you want, that you know that you want.
In NLP, when I did a little bit of NLP work as well, and in NLP we have this saying where we want to connect with all that is. So it's when you get out of your own small little mind, because it's so limited what you think and how you think. And when you give up that limited mind, then you connect with all that is. And when you connect with all that is, whatever comes from that place is perfect for the moment, for that person or that thing. But can you also tell me a little bit, so when you first started out, Did you have a process? Did it just happen automatically? Like, was it quick for you to let go and because of your yoga background and so on? Or did you struggle a little bit in the beginning to allow that to come through you? Tell us a little bit about the process of how it started when you first started making them.
Yes, it was not easy at first. It is like anything, I had to practice, and that practice constantly over time has gotten better. But I would catch myself thinking, trying to make the mala, and each knot is so special because each knot is knotted with an intention or a mantra. So if I'm doing that, and if I'm thinking about my own life or my own problems, being negative, that affects indirectly the mala and the knot. So for example, I would like look at it and it would be, it just wouldn't flow right. It would be maybe a little too tight or too kinky. And those were like the thoughts of my life reflecting the mala. So with practicing, getting rid of those negative thoughts and really learning to have that discipline to focus, concentrate, meditate on the mala and the intention of that mala, it over time became easier to just let go of the distractions of the mind, of the world, any negativity. And
oh wow, positive. That's so beautiful. It's literally like when you were just talking, I was thinking about my yoga. When I teach yoga, the same thing happened for me. In the beginning, it was like you want to control it or everything. And then you just realize it's not about you. You got to let it go. You got to let it go. And after all these years, like over 20 years, I've been teaching yoga. It's such a blessing now because like you, I can step into the room and I can just allow it to be what it needs to be and not to want to control the outcome. Or even in the beginning, I remember that I used to feel great when people say, oh, the class was great. And then when somebody was done, you're just like, oh, I don't know what I did wrong or something. It's like, it's nothing to do with you. If you just allow the flow, then people are having the experiences that they need to have. So you just let go of your thinking and then it just flows. But that kind of takes practice.
It does. It takes practice, just like practicing being happy or practicing everything. If you want to get better at it, it's just practice, practice, practice. So the most important is the mind. Mental.
Exactly. And I guess the yoga helps a lot with that because that's probably for me in my life, my personal life with my yoga practice. That's one of the things that I'm so grateful for is because yoga practice, especially Bikram yoga, because it's very focused, it gives you the opportunity to learn how to bring your focus under your control. So if a negative thought or a negative situation is coming up, you always have a choice. Like I'm a coach for many people and for different things. Like it doesn't matter what it is because life problems are all the same, whether it's in a financial or relationship or health. Whatever your problem is, it comes from the same source. So there isn't really a different problem. There's only one problem. And so I find that when people come, they always think that the problem is outside of themselves. So the problem is never outside of themselves. The problem is always inside of yourself. And when you start to recognize that you have a choice, and most 99% of people, they don't know they have a choice to think a different thought. Because our thinking process is like it's like a movie going on in your head. And then you're projecting the movie out to the world. And so that's what you're getting back. So if you want to get something different back, you have to be able to have the awareness of your thinking process. And the yoga practice is wonderful for that. Daily yoga practice, a daily meditation practice. That's why I'm such a great advocate for meditation, because sometimes people don't want to do yoga. Maybe they like swimming or they like riding their bicycles. Doesn't matter. That's okay. But if you can do at least a meditation once a day, then you can start to understand, you start to get that awareness of your thinking process. Because the thinking process is happening in the unconscious, in the subconscious mind. So you're not aware of it. But when you have pain and suffering in your life, then you know there must be something wrong. And unfortunately, 99% of people think it's the outside. Oh, let me change this. Let me do that. Get a different relationship, get a different job. It's okay if you want to do that, but don't you rather want to just see if there's something you can do, because wherever you go, there you are. So you change the job, and then a couple of years later, you have the same problem. You just change the relationship, right? And so that's the issue, is that people don't understand they have a choice. We have a choice to have a different thought. And that's what a meditation and yoga practice can help you with. So in your case, when you're making your malas, because you're so well trained through the meditation and yoga, because 90 minutes of Bikram yoga is a meditation, now you know that you can let that thought go. You can choose something different.
Exactly. And it's a process, so trust the process and don't be so hard on yourself.
Yeah. Oh, that's another thing, isn't it?
And
yeah, I think what happens to us is, I've talked about this before as well, is that we put our self-worth on what we create, how much money we have. Like, if I do a good job, then I'm good. If I do not such a good job, I'm not good. If my relationship is happy, then I'm good. If my relationship is down the drain, then I'm not good. This is the biggest mistake that we make in our life, to put our self-worth on how much money we make, how educated we are. And like, your self-worth has nothing to do with any of those things that you make. You are worthy just because you are.
Right. Happiness is our birthright. That's the purpose of our life, is to be happy. God wants you to be happy. And I think the malas are just a beautiful reminder, because they have that intention, that beautiful meaning that you can pray for yourself, you can pray for other people, and you can focus on the positive. Like you said, we all have choices, we all have free will, and we can all focus on being more positive and being more uplifting. And meditating is, like you said, some people don't want to do yoga. Lots of people I know, they don't want to do yoga, but they do love to meditate. And if you don't have time, my husband and I, we just started practicing setting a timer for 5 minutes. And we'll just sit there and meditate. In 5 minutes, it goes by fast. So you have 2 5 minutes, beginning of the day, end of the day, just having that little discipline, you will see a difference in your life. You will.
Huge. So talking about the mala, so I know that people talk about 108 is very auspicious in the mala. Can you explain a little bit about that to us?
Yes, all malas have 108 beads, a string of beads that have been used for prayer and meditation for centuries. The meaning is very spiritual. 108 is very spiritual. Many, many reasons. A few things we say, I'll tell you a few. Human thinking in 24 hours, we have 36 thoughts of the future, 36 thoughts of the past, and 36 thoughts in the present. So 36 times 3, 108. The river in India, the famous Ganges, the Ganga, some people call it.
Yeah.
Himalayan Nepal runs through India, is at 12 longitude and 9 latitude, 12 times 9, 108. And also famous astrology, 9 planets, 12 houses, 12 times 9, 108. So many reasons. One, they say is God, and we're all connected. We're all connected to each other. 0 is the universe, our highest truth, and 8 is infinity or timelessness. Then you have the guru bead. So the guru is your parents, your teacher, and you are, no matter how smart you are never supposed to cross your teacher. Always respect them and respect all teachers that have come before you.
Wow.
And then the tassel, the light cutting through the darkness, and you are the light of the world needs you. And also tassel is learning to go with the flow. So that is 108 of the malas.
Oh, wow. I never knew that. I mean, I knew some of that, but not all of it. And I love how you talked about the guru bead. It's like, your parents. Yeah, because you can't, like, just in the order of, if you think on your ancestors, the parent is always first before you, and they give life to you, and you should always have gratitude. And I know a lot of people, sometimes they are not happy with the parent they got or the circumstances around, the parenting. And sometimes there can be, negative stuff going on. But the reality is that creation allowed it to happen. And because of it, you're here. And therefore you should still be, you should still have, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like gratitude for the parent. And if you have anger towards the parent, then you cannot be happy, because without the parent, you wouldn't be here. So there will always be something that you'll find, I have to work on because I didn't make peace with that. So that's very interesting. I never knew that about I didn't know even it was called that Guru Beat. And then also the teacher, very interesting that you mentioned that. And of course, there's so much controversy in Bikram yoga and so on. But I always said, we don't have to like the things that the teacher's doing, but we have to be always grateful that the teacher shared the knowledge with us.
Yes.
And
I always say,
yes, go ahead.
Oh, and I just want to thank you for being my teacher, because we are all each other's teachers. And I like to say in teaching yoga, as we teach, we learn, and as we learn, we teach. So we're always the student, always learning, and always having that grateful heart. Yes.
And exactly, I am the same. Completely. Like every day, I just keep switching the roles. When I'm taking a class, I'm the student. When I'm teaching the class, I'm the teacher. It's like in my daily life, when you just keep switching the roles, but you have to be flexible. You can't just take this stance of I'm always the teacher. You'll never learn anything. And in Bikram Yoga, I remember at my teacher training, I think it might have been Rajashri. She had the talk on, as much as you teach, you have to practice, because if you don't practice, then your teaching becomes stale. And you'll stop relating to it. And it's so true. When people just, like I said earlier on, sometimes people feel like, oh, they need more money, they need to teach more, and then they don't practice. I don't understand. It's one-sided, but everybody has their own stuff going on. But if you can, you have to maintain your practice, because you can't just teach without experiencing it, because everything is about connection to ourselves, isn't it? And that as much as we are connected to ourselves through our own spirituality, are we able then to connect to others? Like it cannot happen without your connection to yourself.
Oh, exactly.
And I think that's why your malas, the way that you make your malas, is so kind of like glowing to me, is because you practice that, what you preach. You know what I'm saying? Like people, we can't just try to do it from the outside. You have to first start on the inside, and then the outside will automatically be okay.
Like before I make a mala, I have to make sure that, because I'm giving to the mala and I'm giving to, whoever I'm making it for, but I have to remember to give to myself, which as a mom and a wife, I struggle with that.
Yes.
So I'm working on getting better. I'm making sure that, okay, I do my yoga. I take care of myself. I've been now waking up, drinking lemon water and celery juice, and just having the, taking care of myself, that self-love. So that way, I can give the love to the mala and give that energy, because it is going to be there, good or negative, positive or negative. So I want to make sure it's definitely the positive. And when you were talking about the yoga, it reminded me, if you don't use it, you lose it. So
exactly.
Always practicing.
And you know what? You just said something so interesting, because you were saying that you take care of yourself first, and then you can take care of others and make the malas. And it's so true. I think that when we are in service to others, it inspires us to be our best selves, doesn't it? Like that's how I've always been with my yoga classes. Like I always practice so that I can be good to be able to teach. So in a way, my teaching is keeping me, I'm responsible to take care of myself, because if I don't, I can't be good for my students. So it's like a package. You always come back, and you always take care of yourself, because out of that, from yourself, when the cup is overflowing, I think there's a scripture in the Bible that talks about that. When your cup is overflowing, then you can give to others. But when your cup is empty, then you have nothing to give. And that's why we see a lot of people, not just in yoga, in other areas in life too, where people are so empty and they just can't give. Like they're in a job they hate, they don't like it, whatever, or in whatever relationship they hate it because there's nothing. And then the problem is that they blame these other people that they overgiving to, instead of taking responsibility and say, it's my fault. I should take care of myself first before I give to others. Happens a lot to mothers. And it's a hard one to learn for us, because the babies literally come from us, from our bodies. And so we have this attachment that we have to take care of them. We only really have to do that for the first 6 years. And then they're pretty much going to be okay on their own, but then we don't know how to give it up. And the best thing you can do for your children is to take care of yourself. Because if you don't take care of yourself, you're going to be miserable. You're going to be you're not going to be in good health. They might not have you for very long. You might die on them. So it's actually the opposite to what most mothers do. Like, you need to make yourself a priority. And I remember it exactly for me and my children when it happened. I think they were around 6 and 7, or maybe 7 and 8. And when I started practicing Bikram yoga, it was 90 minutes. You have to go there for half an hour, 90 minutes, and come back. It's like 2 hours out of your day. And I remember sometimes I practice, I have a little studio in my home, and it's like, they know when I'm in that room, they don't open the door because mom's doing her yoga. And they learned that from a young age. And, I'm happy to say that I think I've raised healthy individuals that understand that you need to take care of yourself. And because a lot of times kids don't learn that because we didn't teach them.
Right. Teaching them.
We have to teach them.
That's what I want to teach my boys.
Yes. So mom's doing her yoga now. She ain't coming out for nothing.
Happy mom, happy life.
And then they got, yeah, exactly. And then they got used to it, and it's like, oh, okay, mom's in there for 90, she's not coming out. And it also helped them to, to go into themselves for problem solving. Like, mom can't fix everything for you. My son's a little slow on that, but my daughter's got it pretty fast. He's like, still, mom. As long as he doesn't come to my yoga room, he can ask me after. But you know what I'm saying is, like, I think the girls got it faster. And because, if you give them the space, because everybody is God, they have the God in them, but they don't know it. And if you keep doing too much for them, they'll never unearth it. And then what's going to happen if you die? Because we're all going to die. And then, they'll be, they will struggle. Whereas when you're still around and they have to learn that, they still know that you're in the background,
Exactly. And that's why I love to teach my boys yoga, and they love the malas. So I teach them, about intentions, positive intentions, manifestations, making good choices.
Yeah. And teaching them early about connection to self, about their own spirituality, because, in life, there's going to be many things that we want to achieve and accomplish, and that's all good. But if you don't understand spiritually who you are, then most things are going to disappoint you in life. Most things, because most things have a beginning and an end, even the body. So if you're not getting established within your spirituality and understanding that that's the main objective in your life, and then these other things can be added on, then we'll be very disappointed. And there's a lot of pain and suffering that comes from that. And it's not something that you can teach anybody, because every soul has their own journey. But you, as the parent, again, I come back to that, when you take care of yourself, then just the kids pick that up. And then they learn how to take care of themselves too, in a relationship or in anything that they do in a job, Yeah. So this is really great. And I thank you so much, Laura, for this wonderful, 101 in the mala making and the 108 beads. And I really appreciate, because like I said, even I didn't really know about all of those things. I had a few things. And I'm just, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us and to the listeners today. We're going to put all Laura's information and her little company is called Satya Ji Malas. We'll put the link in the bio here so people want to visit it. I can tell you now, I think I have a few of her malas, and I'm probably going to, like, I like to get a mala for every season, kind of. That's how I roll. And so when this new season comes, I feel like, oh, we're gonna, and I think I've seen one that I kind of like, but you never know. But I'll be talking to you about that soon. And just send her a message, and she's just a beautiful human being that makes beautiful malas. And you always, like, I think this was the first one you made for me, and I feel beautiful every time I wear it. It's just so, and it's been a while now, and it's still, because usually beads and stuff, they can lose energy fast, but this one is still so good, and I love wearing it. And yeah, thank you so much for spending some time with us and sharing your love of mala making and everything else, like, being a mother and being a yogini. And the other thing about Laura is she loves, and she's very lucky because she has a couple of owls that live outside her home. So she always posts these beautiful pictures of these owls. And I think they just had babies, and so beautiful. So thank you for spreading all this love and kindness just by being you. There's no effort in it. And thank you for showing us how to connect to our spiritual self through our life, like through being a mother. I say that every day. That's why I started this podcast. I wanted to show people that spirituality is here with you now today. You don't have to go to India. You don't have to go to the Himalayas. You are spiritual in your life here. And if you understand that, then your life is going to be a whole lot happier, because I have seen a lot of people, they want to be spiritual. They leave their everything behind, want to go to the mountains. Maybe it works, I don't know, but I believe that spirituality is in your daily life, being a mother, being a wife, being a mala maker, being a yoga teacher, being a yoga student. In everything that you do, your spirituality is connected. So I want to thank you for being that in our world, because we need all these good people, to reflect the connection and the love that each and every one of us have. And there's some of us just taking a little longer to connect there. But thank you, Laura. And it was so lovely to finally speak with you and to meet you. And I admire so much what you do and what you put out into the world.
Thank you so much, Deborah.
You're welcome, Laura. See you soon.
Bye. Namaste.